You guys throwing us on, listening in, tuning in. I'm George Balekji. She's Natalie Noury. Natalie, making your chat debut today.
I know. It's so cool. I've never been here with you in the studio, so this is something that's been long awaited, that's for sure. I just texted you a few days ago. I'd love to do a show with George, and here we are.
Now you're going to be I'll be sending you texts from my gym, from the Stairmaster, Natalie Noury on everywhere.
That's exactly what happened.
We're coming to you guys right from the PNC Bank studio. Now you could catch Natalie obviously covering Woo Sox games, covering Hockey East, also on Respect Her Game.
Yeah.
You've been on that. Have you been on Extra Time as well, or no? Just RHG?
No, just Respect Your Game, and then this is the first one I'm doing outside of that one. So
there we go.
Debut with George.
There we go. Growing on the NESN Podcast Network.
Know. Super cool.
We got a packed show for you guys today. We'll be talking about Jerod Mayo and his opening comments before training camp kicks off for the Patriots. What he had to say about Drake Maye and Jacoby Brissett. We get into predicting some baseball Hall of Fame numbers. We also give out our dream lineups, our dream top three, our dream blue lines, even our dream goalies in the NHL history. Yep. And Natalie loves her hockey, so I'm actually really excited to hear that.
Yeah.
But let's get started with what's trending today. The Olympics continue to grow, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But breakdancing is set to make its debut as an official event at the Paris Olympics this year. Did not know that.
No.
Right?
Neither did I, honestly.
I can't imagine what it's going to look like. I can't dance worth a damn. So if you tell me like breakdancing, no.
I mean, have you seen how it's done yet? Have you looked up any videos or anything?
No, I'm more of my imagination of breakdancing is what you see in movies and shows, and I just don't go beyond that.
Well, I mean, it's like the athleticism, first of all. It's insane. It would give me vertigo. It would give me like crazy whiplash. So kudos to the people who can do that. Now, I know this is something that was voted in as well. So I don't think breakdancing will be in upcoming Olympics, but it'll definitely be a sight to see, because I don't know how I feel about it as a sport, but I'm open to what it can bring to the Olympics.
It takes athleticism and it is competitive. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's fine that it's added. Yeah. I don't know. They could have as many events as they want. Yeah.
I mean, because talking about the whole voting in a sport and whatnot, like baseball, it is not in this year, but I think it will be back in 2028. Yeah. But it's just kind of based on, where the Olympics are being held, that kind of depends on what sport is being included. So breakdance is not something that I thought would actually be ever included in the Olympics.
Maybe it's like big in France.
I don't know if it is, honestly. So, but I guess they battle each other. They can do like what they call battles in breakdance.
Yeah, it'd probably be like based off score. I mean, in gymnastics, you have them doing some moves and whatever. Yep. Mm-hmm. Like there's definitely like they hit this move. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I think it voted on by the judges. So I guess breakdancing's the same. I wonder if it's on a cardboard box, because that's what you see in movies too.
That would be cool.
This is my knowledge of breakdancing. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I think as long as you can compete, score points, and it takes a crazy amount of talent to do so, like, why not? I think that's the great part of it. And we're going to see some crazy talent. I know there is one American woman who's competing in it. So I think that's pretty cool to have that representation, at least from the USA there. Yeah. So, yeah.
I can't imagine what qualifying is. Again, but there's we're going to fast forward 10 years. It's like pickleball is going to be in it. Yeah. And then also like cup stacking is going to be in it too. So again, I don't know what qualifies, how that gets in, but kudos to her. They'll have me watching, I guess. Yeah.
I'm definitely curious to see. So I'll tune in for a couple of them.
Now, Olympic flag football will join the Olympics in 2028. But for now in the NFL, an 18-game schedule has been discussed at a very high level. I've said it time and time again. This doesn't shock me at all that this could happen. Right. It's all about money. You add an 18th game. It's about adding to the player's safety and making it make sense. Preseason-wise, extra bye weeks, and obviously all that, having the player's safety in mind for a league that really doesn't care about it because they do Thursday Night Football. Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised it's discussed at a very high level. It's going to happen eventually. I guess it's just the discussions going on. For whenever they launch it, they have to get this right. To go from 16 to 17 games was insane. But to go from 17 to 18, and especially the injuries we see later in the season, that's why the NFL wants to get this right. What do you think of when you hear that it's discussed at a very high level, which also means it's like Roger Goodell and co. also thinking about this.
Right, and Goodell, he's in favor of it. I think he expressed earlier this year. But if you do an 18-game season, there has to be 2 bye weeks because there has to be that rest and recovery like you're talking about. I know a couple players in the league have expressed favoritism towards this and the bye week. Burrow, Kittle have expressed that. Joe Burrow saying there should be a league-wide bye week, maybe 2/3 of the way in, so the whole league just takes a break. And I think that's important. I mean, this is a tough sport, George. So it's like if you're playing that long, we love it because more football. It might mean a shorter preseason, maybe instead of 3 games, go to 2 games there. But I think, I'm interested. I think everybody else who's a football fan would be interested too. And what is this? How many seasons have we played 17 games now?
Has it been 2 seasons? 3 seasons?
It's pretty new, I guess.
Yeah. And they're already going to 18 because they saw 17 work.
Yeah. So exactly. It's kind of like, well, you see it work. Don't want to rush the progress, but definitely want to talk about it.
I feel like they have to add a bye week to, I think, pre-Thursday night football game. Because if you have 18 games and one of those is a game on Sunday or Monday night or Sunday night, 3 days rest, game Thursday, and then they have that 10-day break.
Yeah,
I think that's how you should work it into. So you have a 10-day break leading up to a Thursday night game, which make those better. 10-day break coming off of those. And then we'd have to see them work in bye weeks of everyone has a bye between weeks 4 and 9, let's say.
Right.
And then your second bye is between weeks 12 and 15. But that way you have every team playing the last 3 games of the season, which could be important for seeding.
Yep.
I'm not a schedule maker. I don't know the marketing of it all. Yeah. My priority is think about the players in all this. Yeah. And I think getting on top of Thursday Night Football. And of course, Roger Goodell is highly in favor of it because his job is to keep the 31 owners happy.
Exactly.
And they are having Monday Night Football. They'll have a Black Friday game. There's Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. They're going to play every day of the week if they can, and eventually they will. So to go to 18 games, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. I mean, you say you're not a schedule maker, but I like your idea of when to have those bye weeks, because I think the 3 final games of the season, that it's kind of like a mini season coming back from that second bye week, because it's like, okay, last 3 games, whole new season starts here. Let's start looking to the postseason. So I think that's kind of a cool way to do it. So I mean, maybe you're kind of giving some tips out there right now. But
I'm not trying to work for free.
Yeah.
The amount that Goodell makes a year, he better cut me a check. All right, finally, end of what's trending with Joe Burrow with a new haircut. That's all I'm going to call it. We'll pull up the image right here. Joe Burrow rolling up to training camp for the Cincinnati Bengals. Bleach blonde hair. Oof. They go, guess who's back because of the Slim Shady vibes. Natalie.
I don't really know what to say. I love Joe Burrow.
He had a great head of hair before this.
That's what I was gonna say.
He's buzzing that. Yes. Sorry, you go.
No. Have you seen the picture? You've seen the picture. He'd had hair down to his shoulders, and it was curly. I mean, it's beautiful hair. I wouldn't do anything different with it. I guess he's done this before in his high school days. He bleached back then when he was getting a little fame, little notoriety. Not sure why he's bringing it back though now.
That's what hit me. I see this. This is I'm on a wrestling team or a football team on some high school team out in the sticks.
Yep.
And right before the playoffs or counties, whole team bleaches their hair and buzzes their head, and then they go.
It is a very.
I don't get it.
It's like a high school vibe,
right?
Just from that, but I mean, like, will the rest of the team follow? Like you're talking, it's like one guy. Not. I hope not either. I mean, I love Joe Burrow, but not a huge fan of the hair.
You said we both agree it's high school vibe. He's making like $55 million a year.
Yeah. I guess he can do whatever the heck he wants.
Yeah,
then.
I guess. Like, who am I to hate? He's got but like a normal day, he's got a better hair to hair than me. And I wouldn't come close to buzzing this, and he did it. Yeah. The one thing I would give on the other end is his morning routines are a lot easier.
Yeah.
You can shower the night before. If you don't sweat at night, then you're good. Or you get a shower the next day. You don't got to style your hair. You just walk out the shower and stuff's dry.
But what's going to happen when his roots start showing? I mean, we have that problem. The girls have that problem.
Yeah, dirty, what is it, dirty blonde it would look like,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, he's going to have like frosted tips eventually if he just lets it grow out. So, I don't know. Morning routine, yeah, I mean, you have a good point, but...
It could happen right in time for him to be like in sync for Halloween, maybe. Yeah. If the frosted tips start coming in, I'm saying.
Well, remember when Jerod Duran dyed his hair silver?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that was cool. So...
You know what? If I was to be anyone, I'd like to be Jerod Duran right now. He's on top of the world in baseball. So I guess Joe Burrow is a Jerod Duran fan.
Yeah, maybe Jerod set the trend.
There we go. We got some fan tweets to pull up. First from our boy Rambo, tweeting out, "It's just Ken."
That's
I
good.
guess from Ken and Barbie.
That's good.
Ken, I haven't seen the movie yet. Does Ken? Oh yeah, Ryan Gosling. He has blonde hair.
I've never seen the movie, but
it's the pink shirt too. See, I've just seen the memes. I've just seen the memes
because they're everywhere.
Exactly.
And now Joe Burrow is a meme. So, I mean.
Brian sending in Eminem and Burrow. Yeah, the Spider-Man gif. I think that's perfect for that. And then finally, Brett Yale making this too easy is what he says about Burrow's.
Oh my gosh.
Is that 22 Jump Street?
Yeah, I think so. Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill from 21 Jump Street. Our producer Brendan's telling me. Yeah. I have bad eyes. I can't see the full
I know.
thing.
It's been a while for me too there. But
what is that? High school.
Yes,
21 Jump Street,
you're
they went
right.
back to high school, and that's what it is.
Yeah, if you want to fit in high school, you buzz the hair and you color it a dreadful color, and you go from there.
You'll never catch me dead, blonde, bleaching my hair.
No.
Hey, if you want to send in your tweets, make sure to tweet at us, at George Balekji, at Nesson. What's your Twitter handle, X handle you can plug?
Natalie Noury, pretty simple.
There you go. Add in the hashtag, the chat, if you want to get your tweets to show up on the show. If you want to call in, leave a voicemail, 617-790-0928, or email us, thechat@nesson.com. We'll read out your emails, your questions, whatever you want it to be. We'll read them out on the show. You join the conversation that way. All right, we're going to get into it now. Jerod Mayo held his first press conference on the eve of training camp, which is huge because what I was excited to hear, Natalie, was a Patriots head coach give actual answers to the media.
Yeah.
This went 20 minutes. I was baffled. If it's Belichick, it's going 8-9 minutes at
Right.
most. But it was actual answers, actual interactions with the journalist. He seemed like he was having a good time.
Yep.
He was happy to be there. And I'm not saying like anyone should be happy to be in a post-game press conference. Like, it'd be annoying. But I just saw like a human being. So I want to start with that.
Yeah.
But let's get into his first answer that stuck out to me. And it was when Jerod Mayo was asked about his starting quarterback situation. Let's roll it.
Yeah, I mean, coming out of the spring, I don't think there's any doubt Jacoby is the starting quarterback at this point in time. I mean, we can look at these other quarterbacks on the roster. At the same time, like it's about competition. And so when we get out on the field this summer with the pads on, we'll see how it all plays out. But, coming out of the spring, I think it's clear that Jacoby is the most pro-ready guy we have and play a lot of football.
That ending sentence for me, that's what does it. Saying Jacoby's the most pro-ready guy we've had. He's played a lot of football. Because that is what Jacoby Brissett is. But he also points out, like, he's our starter coming into the spring, coming into the summer right now, but we'll see what happens with the competition. So Jerod Mayo tempering expectations in a way of like Drake Maye's not ready right now, but he's not writing off that the kid can grow and become a starter.
Right. And I feel like that might be exactly why they signed Brissett, to kind of ease Drake into this role. I mean, he's a rookie. The beauty of this situation is the Patriots kind of have options. They don't have to rush anyone's progression in that regard. And I think, he is pro ready. Brissett has had, experience with a multitude of different NFL teams. He's been around since 2016 or whatever, but he's here with New England now. I think he probably will start, to be, quite honest with you. I think he's probably the best option right now. At the end of spring ball, I think it was evident that Drake had surpassed Zappe, so you can kind of tell that Drake is going to be in that second role right now. But I think it gives him a chance to he's young too. It gives him a chance to catch up, gives him a chance to develop, and I think that's probably a good plan as of right now.
I think that's what's important, is that it also tempers expectations on the timeline of this team and Drake Maye, where he's more talented literally throwing the football, but like, how good are you as a professional? That goes with any sport. Like, everyone has their ceiling, but what's their floor? And the Patriots right now have to go with what's the highest floor possible. And that's Jacoby Brissett. He's reliable. He's smart. He knows how to run the system, which he came over with from Cleveland. And Jacoby Brissett said himself, too, you mentioned it, when he was drafted by the Patriots, he said, I have the same outlook. I'm going to come in. I'm going to compete for the starting job. It's healthy for Jacoby to keep it open. It's also healthy for Drake Maye, for Jerod Mayo to say, hey, you're not the starter right now, but stuff can happen. He gives him that confidence boost, and he's openly talking about there being a competition where anyone can earn the job. It's good for Bailey Zappe. But I completely agree with you. Like, to me, it's Jacoby Brissett's job right now. I think it should eventually be Drake Maye's by middle to end of the season. You want him to get actual game reps. And even in the case of Bailey Zappe, like, he can still go out there, compete, and possibly be the backup quarterback, which for him, this is a kid that came in out of Western Kentucky. No one knew anything about him, really. Obviously, the last 2 seasons has proven he could be a viable backup and keep an offense together for the Pats through 2 different offensive coordinators and play callers. Now it's his 3rd in as many years he's been with New England. So I think it's all help, and it's a healthy quarterback room, because last year it was toxic. Mac Jones didn't talk to Bailey Zappe. There's no cohesion. There was no help. But Jacoby Brissett coming in as a vet, but as a starter, it's important for him to help Drake Maye come along as well,
I think that's a great point, and that's somewhere I was going to get to as well if you hadn't brought it up, because I think it's a great, like, tandem per se, just because Brissett has that veteran status. He can be a leader. He can, take Drake Maye kind of by the hand and show him the ropes of, he's still young. He's still adjusting to this role, but he's probably adjusting to a ton of fame, a new spotlight as well, how to handle all of that. I know even some of the younger athletes coming onto the scene, it's like handling the media and stuff like that. There's a whole learning curve when it comes to it. And I think not only is there that internal competition, who's going to take the number one job, but I think it can be a lot healthier, and that can stem out to the offensive line and beyond, and some of the skilled positions. And I think this could be the start of a new team. It's a new era, I guess, per se. So I think the partnership there might kind of come through a little more than we're used to.
And there is a factor of it all that I think the best part you bring up is the getting used to the media part of it and the attention, the fame. He's the next quarterback for the New England Patriots. He's not the next quarterback. You can say Cincinnati Bengals, but I'm just thinking of smaller cities, football hungry. Sure, everyone has that fan base, but what's the standard and what do people look towards? Look towards. So with him being in Boston, obviously it's not even the Brady shadow. It's what happened the past 3 years with the guy before him, where the attention's on him, and the heat is also on the front office. Don't mess this up too. But it's not just going from Tom Brady to losing him. What New England went through, they went from Tom Brady to rock bottom as a franchise.
Everything
laughing
fell
stock.
apart.
Exactly. So the pressure that's on this kid and what fans are going to be looking towards, that falls on him too. So there is the acclimation period of not just getting used to football and a new system and being in the NFL, but also at the same time, getting used to everything that comes with being an NFL quarterback in one of the biggest sports cities in the country,
Yeah, and I think the quarterback position has been such a high standard in the past here for New Englanders. It's we look at, the New England QB, first thing that comes to mind is Tom Brady. I was in local news when he retired the second time around, and everybody was so distraught. But then all of a sudden it was okay, well, let's enter this new era, and none of us thought that it was going to go how it did, which was pretty disappointing. So in my perspective, I think this is a turn in the right direction. I think, Drake Maye, he's a fresh face. He's a young kid. I'm excited to see what he does. And again, what was said today, it's it can't be anyone's job, but I think the list of people that we have that we're working with right now at the QB position, it's a positive environment. And I think New Englanders are going to welcome this more than they have in past years. I mean, to be frank, it can't really get worse. Yeah. So
no, you're right.
I don't know. I mean, it's all up to, what happens, I guess.
If they go out and just see a comparable, smart, just looks like an okay football team, then I think New England fans will be ecstatic of at least it's respectful when we're putting out the product on the field.
Right.
At least we're not getting laughed out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's been the last 2 years. So anything but that.
Yeah. And I think when a team in general is rebuilding, I think people kind of look at it as rebuilding the position, rebuilding the confidence in the team, rebuilding the leadership on the field, that kind of thing. It's now the mentality changes too. It's okay, we're in a transitional phase. Let's see if we can get it right.
And they spoke on that too, talking about transition. Jerod Mayo, talking about Drake Maye, and the other quarterbacks that could still be the week one starter. Let's play that sound now.
This goes to any position. If he comes out here and he lights it up, and once again, it goes back to the quality of reps, it could absolutely happen. I sit here and tell you, coming out of the spring, Jacoby looks like the starting quarterback. Now, with that being said, he'll have competition. There's let's not forget about even Joe Milton. Let's not forget about Zappy. All those guys will have opportunities to go out there and be the starting quarterback in week one.
I'm going to forget about Joe Milton. I don't think he has a shot to be the starting quarterback week one. But he's a guy that's a project and you want in the room.
Yeah.
But I'll write off Bailey, but that's in a way of I think he's a great backup. But again, it just goes, he's open to the idea of Drake Maye comes out and he puts something on the practice field that's undeniable. And he does it from the beginning of training camp in mid-July to late July, all the way up to week one of the regular season with preseason games mixed in. That's a big sample size.
Yeah.
And if he's executing with the receivers, he knows how to run an offense. He shows he can be a pro quarterback. Jerod Mayo's not writing it off. Instead of him going, no, Jacoby Brissett's a quarterback. Jacoby Brissett's a quarterback. Jacoby Brissett's a starting quarterback week one. You don't know what that could do to one kid's confidence. I don't think Drake Maye has any issue with confidence.
Yep.
But also it just shows that as a coach and as a new leader for him in a new role altogether, he's saying, I wouldn't write it off. He's going into it open-minded. And if the offense looks bad under any other option and it looks great under Drake Maye, then he doesn't get caught up in some BS timeline that he put on himself because he said it back in July. He doesn't care. He'll go, what's best for the football team. That's pulling a saying from Bill Belichick, which I hate him doing on that. But that's how I take that one.
Yeah, and I think that open-mindedness can instill confidence in a way because nobody's been written off yet.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what training camp is for. You come in, you kind of show what you got, show what you need to further develop, and you go from there. And I think that's the best way to look at it. And to your point earlier, I have to commend Mayo on his directness because he was asked this question directly. You know, what's going to happen with Drake Maye? Who is going to be the starting quarterback? And he answered it candidly. And I think that openness just with the media, with the public, is going to kind of I guess reestablish the relationship the Patriots have with the community as well. So I think he's kind of giving us a chance to kind of make our decisions and what we want to see from the team. But I think it's great. I mean, Bailey Zappi, he's had some experience. He knows what to expect. They know what to expect out of him probably. There's room for improvement there. But I think right now with Jacoby starting, I'm comfortable with this. I'm comfortable with Mayo's outlook on that. And then I think Drake Maye, you know, if he is lights out, I'd love to see him start, but I also think easing the kid in might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, no one would be upset with Drake Maye taking starter reps at the beginning of the season. If he's ready, I think if the offensive line is ready, and it's just there's so much that goes into it. And he pointed too of like how candid Jerod Mayo is because he said the same thing when he was asked what a successful season is. He's like laying down a foundation. They're like, what's the foundation? He's like reliable, dependable, being smart, putting out a good football team. So he's not shying away of what this team is and what they're capable of. I don't have high expectations on the season, but it's from a 3 to 4 year outlook where even if it's not much improvement this year in the win column, if there's improvement on the field, that's something you want to see. Because if they go from 3 wins to 5 or 6, yes, that still could be last in the division and not even close to the playoffs, but it's an improvement. And how does it look on the football field? And how does Drake Maye look when he gets in a game? So Jerod Mayo is just being smart of tempering expectations. And also, as much as he's giving confidence to Drake Maye, he's not putting pressure on Drake Maye either.
Yeah, and I think that's huge, and that's what I talk about when I say, like, ease him in, because you don't want him to come in, feel the pressure, you know, feel under fire, and then his reputation is ruined. You don't want to see a young kid go out there and make a couple mistakes and then get scrutinized by the public. So I think there's also that level of protection there, like, hey, let's not rush the kid. Again, bringing back the fact that we have options. We don't have to play him right away. It's like we can give him kind of the best introduction to the level, to the game, and I think having that growing room will kind of allow him to develop confidence. It'll allow him to kind of feel himself out, kind of figure out who he wants to be in New England and go from there.
You lived in New England your whole life?
I have, yeah.
Grew up in New Hampshire?
Yeah.
All right. At what point did you realize like you had it so good with Tom Brady being a quarterback here? Was it like 2011?
Oh,
was
gosh.
it 2017?
I think it was my college years because I went to college 2017 to 2021. And
Graduate of where?
University of New Hampshire.
There we go.
Yeah,
UNH,
go
baby.
Wildcats. So we just had so many Super Bowl victories, obviously, that downtown turned into like a party in itself. So
jealous.
it was just like every year it's like, okay, so what's going to happen downtown this year? It was just the expectation that we were going to win. So I think it was just like year after year after year, it was like, wow, okay, Tom Brady's pretty good. Patriots are pretty good. And actually like a lot of kids from out of state who came to our university became Patriots fans. The bandwagon was strong. It was great. So, I mean, you're from New Jersey, right?
Yes.
Did you ever get anything like that?
There's 2007 and 2011.
Yeah.
Of course, with the Giants. And there's 2009 with that team down in the AL East. I won't mention their name on Nesson broadcast waves or in the city either. But those types of expectations of like every year it's our year. I mean, you don't see that anywhere else. Sure, in the height of the evil empire for the Yankees, and you know early Kobe and Shaq with the Lakers at those points, and maybe Dodgers fans feel that way in a way right now with the behemoth that they've built and that like juggernaut. Maybe Braves fans too as you go across the league. But just like the parity that we see league to league. Yeah. And we see like the Stanley Cup final of everyone thought it was Avs. Everyone thought it was Dallas Stars. Everyone thought it'd be a team out of the West. A, it wasn't either. It was Edmonton and Florida. And B, it was a team out of the East. It just shows how wild any sport outcome can be. So like that spoiledness, but I say respectfully, and there's jealous in there of like a Patriots fan and Tom Brady fan.
Yeah.
But then it's also too like, how do you look at it now if you could put your fandom hat on of all right, Drake, you're here.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like, there's some, like, consistency here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean he's stepping into big shoes, not only behind Brady and whatnot, but just the region in general. I mean, being a kid saying like, hey, you're drafted to the New England Patriots. I mean, what's your first thought? Like, whoa, that team was pretty good. That was a really good team. And we're so spoiled. We're so lucky up here because it's not like, if it's not the Patriots, well, it's going to be the Celtics this year. And who's it going to be next year? I don't know. But I mean, it's a great region to be a part of. And like Foxborough is such an interesting place too, because I used to go up there to cover some stories now and again, but like it's in the middle of nowhere, but yet it garners so much attention just because of the team that plays within its walls. And it's sick. I mean, it's great.
I say with like what they have with free agents now, and I bet it's the same thing with draft picks. It's that like, cool, I'm drafted to the Patriots. I'm going to live in Boston. Yeah. You go an hour south down Route 1, and you're like, where am I? Where are all the sticks? Beautiful area down there. Like nice towns to live in, like Walpole and obviously like Rentham, wherever you go in the area. But also like, they're like, imagine being a young millionaire and you're like, I want to live in the seaport. I got to live down.
Yeah, that's going to be a commute then. Yeah, then you got to get in the car and drive an hour or whatever.
I don't think Prov would be that bad. That's my one thing.
Providence?
But then it's, again, you're even further from Boston. But that's exactly it, of the uniqueness. But again, to like how they fill out Foxborough, how they fill out Gillette Stadium. When I was there for Tom Brady's retirement ceremony and his jersey retirement ceremony, they packed the stadium at points of like minute-long standing ovations. You couldn't hear yourself think, but that's like the passion that Patriots fans have for this team.
Right.
So there's those expectations of like, that's the standard, the championship standard. And then there's the expectations of, it's not just like carrying on the torch and keeping them in the playoffs. It's like, you got to dig them out. And I think it's a very real dynamic that Jerod Mayo is dealing with, that Elliot Wolf is dealing with, and also eventually be with like what Drake Maye is dealing with as well.
Yeah, that's a good point too. We talk about, wanting to avoid him feeling pressure, him feeling like there's a lot of expectation on him, but he is coming into like a post-war era, like in a way. It's just like, all right, well, now I might be the captain of the ship, and I really got to give the people something to watch for and to cheer on. And I mean, New England fans, it's like you just can't shake us. I think once we're dedicated, we're lifers. But like, this kid does. He probably knows what he's getting himself into. So I think that there is going to be a little bit of, I don't know, he's going to be nervous. He's going to be nervous when he sees what he's getting into. And I think like he understands the pressure. He knows what's expected of him. And I think it's great that they're just giving him and allowing him the time to really kind of grow into what he needs to be.
And I always think there's like the cities you want to win in. Yeah. It's cool if you win in like a Cincinnati or a Minneapolis, like cool. But like where you become a legend is a Boston, a New York, a Philly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are those certain cities where they love their sports so much and want it so bad. Like you win there, you're a god at that point, All right. So also, if you want more coverage of the Patriots and all the days and opening days of training camp, head over to Foxborough Rush, wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. Like, subscribe, rate, and review. Keegan Stiefel joined me, and you'll catch that on the pod as well. Keegan and I went through Jerod Mayo's press conference, also gave our top predictions of guys we want to watch out training camp. Again, wherever you get your podcast, head over there and watch it. Let's move on to baseball. Hall of Fame class 2025 is coming up. There's a couple first-year eligible guys. Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, Dustin Pedroia, Boston legend, Curtis Granderson, Felix Hernandez. Out of those like first-year eligible guys, who are the ones that jump off the page of you? Like, I think they should be a Hall of Famer. Troy Tulowitzki, Ben Zobrist on that list too. Hanley Ramirez as well.
I mean, I think you got to start with Ichiro Suzuki, just because I feel like he's kind of a guarantee in a way. The only reason he's not a Hall of Famer already is because those 2 games in Tokyo kind of delayed his eligibility there. But I think, he's someone that has been in conversation for a really long time. So to see his name on the list finally, I think that's going to kind of, I don't want to say guarantee it because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but of course it's just like,
he's gonna get in.
Yeah. It just seems it's gonna happen. So I really think that he's definitely someone that you can expect there. Dustin Pedroia, I mean, where do we start there?
He's right on the line. I mean, 2-time World Series champion, AL MVP, Rookie of the Year, 4-time Gold Glover. And he is that, yes, he was great in Boston. Was he ever the best at his position? He was for that MVP year. I would put him in because I also think it's like, how essential were they for those championship teams and the role they played?
Right.
And whether or not they get the rings without him, I think baseball is such an interesting sport with that, where I don't think rings matter as much as other sports. I think his impact, what he was, and that was someone that overperformed. I mean, his nickname was like the Dirt Dog, right?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
That's the type of guy, the gritty player he had to be. Yeah. and he transcended, played bigger than his size, an undersized guy in the game. But who else can you put on, like when you have Dustin Pedroia and David Ortiz standing next to each other, and you look at both of those guys and say they're both essential for a World Series championship? That is a beauty of baseball. And he executed his position and held it down the middle infield for the Red Sox for all those years. I would put Pedroia in, but I do think what's essential is him being a key piece in both those World Series champion teams.
Yeah, and I like that perspective because as a New Englander, I would love to see him in just based on bias in general.
Yeah.
But, it's like when you look at it like that, when you look at it on paper, he's made an impact in some of the biggest moments in Red Sox history as well, by the way. But to see him, earlier this year I was at Fenway and he was being honored on the field for the Red Sox Hall of Fame and standing ovation. Everyone loves Pedroia.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a strong argument as to why he won't get in. I just think most people need to get on board and vote for him, and I would love to see that happen. But I mean, he's great when you see it on paper. Again, I think he should be in 100%. So, I mean, injuries kind of plagued him a little bit in his career, but like, who hasn't?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's if you want that longevity, and I mean, he was dominant at his position all those years. And he's a guy that is a first time on this ballot. You open up with Ichiro, like I think he gets in. I would put him first ballot just because I think he's one of the best hitters to ever play baseball, and that's obviously so important to the game.
Yep.
But if he doesn't get to that point, then at least he'll get in. And it's, again, Dustin Pedroia. It's hard when you put him up against Ichiro, CC Sabathia, Felix Hernandez. Because you could say for Felix Hernandez and CC Sabathia, some of the most dominant pitchers in their era. And obviously, CC was part of that 2009 World Series winning team. Felix Hernandez, a guy that threw a perfect game, has only happened so many times in baseball. Pedroia doesn't have that big, star-studded, popular name like the others, but that's again someone I would think would get in. And then the notable name is Manny Ramirez, returning on the ballot. Played again 2 World Series with the Red Sox, went over to the Dodgers, kept his bat just as dominant, was such a feared hitter. And then there's a scrutiny of his PEDs and what happened off the field that would keep him off. I think at this point it would be Manny without the PEDs. The same thing with Alex Rodriguez. No PEDs involved. Those guys are in right away. Yep. That's what's hurting them.
And I agree. It's unfortunate because I feel like that's kind of something that will forever kind of like follow them in their careers, whether, they stop playing ball and all of a sudden it's like, oh, remember that happened? Remember that dirt that happened with them? It's like, that's something that will always kind of follow them around. And I think you're right. I think without that, they would be in because A-Rod's, had 3 failed attempts at getting into the Hall of Fame now. And it's unfortunate because at least growing up for me, as a kid, I didn't really know much about PEDs, but I knew they were good baseball players. So in my mind, I was like, these guys should be in. Well, how are they not in? Why are they not in? And it's unfortunate that that's something that might just kind of follow them around. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting class that we have right now because it is like there are a lot of Red Sox names, a lot of people who have played for the Red Sox at least one time. And I think that's a little bit of pride too when you talk about New England. And I don't know, it's just like there's so many reasons as to why all these guys should be in it, but it's such a difficult, it's so weird. There are even people who are not in the Baseball Hall of Fame who you think would be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
It's like the Hall of very good or great, and then you put some of these guys in. Pedroia, Ian Kinsler, Hanley Ramirez, Manny Ramirez, some of the guys that are eligible to be in the Hall of Fame, played for the Red Sox. We're talking about future Hall of Famers. Let's talk about Alex Ovechkin. Obviously, we know he's chasing the all-time goals record, but I love that he was asked who he'd like to see on the Capitals, and this was his answer to play with 2 all-time greats.
Okay, I want to see McDavid and Crosby in our team. But
Crosby coming here would be something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you should call him.
Start that.
That would be over 4,000 career points between that line. Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah,
I think that's a perfect answer. Who do you want here? He's like, give me the 3 best, 2 other best in the game right now.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of a shoo-in. It's like, who do you want on the team? Well, Crosby and McDavid. I think it's funny too because Crosby and he were drafted the same year or at least a year apart, and then they went right into that lockout right away. Now I'm going to take us back a few years too. I think I was a senior in high school. I was in a public speaking course. You ever take one of those?
No, I have not.
Hated that.
I need
Hated
those.
That course. Yeah, maybe Georgia needs one or 2. But I did a project actually comparing and contrasting the stats of Ovechkin and Crosby from the time they were drafted to I think 2016 at the time, and it was a persuasion speech. So I was like, here's the data, and then I asked the class, who do you think is better? It was split down the middle, 50-50. But stats at the time did say Sidney Crosby. Do you believe it?
Really? Sid dealt with the concussions.
Yeah, right.
And I think, but like Ovechkin with his physicality and knack for goal scoring, I would go Sidney Crosby over Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I liked Ovechkin better just because he was kind of like a grizzled dude. Like he's just a big presence on the ice. But
and that's where I get to. That's what I'm thinking of, like 200 feet, what it affects. What grade did you get on that speech?
I think I got an A.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right?
Even though you didn't persuade anyone technically, everyone went 50-50. Got an A. It means the presentation was good.
Yeah.
But hearing that made us thinking, if you would put together your dream line, and we'll start with your forwards. We'll go blue liners and even goalies, but let's start with your dream line of your forwards. Who would be the three you'd put out on the ice? Past or present, any player, any era?
Oh, God. I mean, first of all, I love the camaraderie there between Ovechkin. You know, he's just paying respect to some of the other, like, best legends. They're going to be legends one day, obviously. I think, now I've thought this through. There's so many different, like, ways I could go with it. I think it's center. I think I would want Sidney Crosby. I think,
really?
I don't know. I just think he makes people around him better. Yeah. Obviously. So this year in particular, he was almost 60% on the dot too. So strong face-offs there. I think that's a good way to get started. Maybe Kucherov outright.
Wow. So are you going current players or are you going all time?
I'm going current right now. Current right now. And then I don't know if you're going to like this one. My Minnesotans will like this one. Kaprizov out left. Kirill Kaprizov. He's what did he have?
I don't hate it.
19 power play goals this year.
Yeah.
So he'd be good for the unit.
So you're smart. You're going face-offs. You're going all around. You're going with the power play. You're thinking of the special teams.
Yeah.
On this one, I went like all time right away.
Okay. Tell me your all time.
Left wing's Gordie Howe. Was complete player. Yeah. Center's Wayne Gretzky. I'm going to bump him to the wing. He'll be just as effective. I would need to see Gretzky next to Connor McDavid.
So you're going to throw a current guy in with the legends?
Yeah, that's what I
love that. I love that. I think my creativity comes in more with the D-men.
Okay.
You want me to get there? So Bobby Orr. We're putting him on defense.
Yes. Can't hate that.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with Bobby Orr.
And also the first defenseman ever like go above the blue line and actually score.
Yes.
Change a game.
He's cerebral. He's smart. He's a beautiful skater. Like he's kind of got all that. How about seeing him with Duncan Keith from Chicago, from the Chicago days? I always liked Duncan Keith.
An original six combo too.
Yeah.
I like that Duncan Keith call. Blue line, I went Ray Bourque and Nicholas Lindstrom.
Oh, okay.
To me, the two best defensemen ever. And it was like, I'm picking Ray over Bobby Orr.
Yep.
But I'm going more modern players. And if Bobby Orr played in today's game or later on, not less physicality, I'd want to say when he'd play, but like a cleaner game in a way, like people not just chopping out his legs and eventually taking out his knees. But Bourque's the all-time scorer. Lindstrom, seen as, the most complete defenseman, the best defenseman ever. So that's why I go with that combo. I like the blue line creativity. Do you have another one that you thought of?
Oh gosh. I think, it'd be kind of cool to see Bobby Orr and Big Z back there.
Yes.
I think that would just be kind of cool.
Difference in stature.
Yeah. Different in
wearing the sweaters they wore at that time too.
Yes. I just think that would be kind of a cool, like, full circle moment that will never happen, but just cool. I don't know. I like defensemen, I think, because like they can create explosive plays, but yet they can also save a game if necessary.
Yes. And then just seeing Big Z back out there on the ice in general.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Did you go with your dream goalie to play behind your dream blue line?
See, this one I could have gone a few different ways. I think you have to give credit to Panthers goalie this year, Bobrovsky. I think he played really well. And it was almost irritating because I was like, because of him, I think they deserve to win. And I remember it was him that kind of changed my mood on everything. So I think he's solid, but I would love to see Terry Sawchuk play.
Okay.
The picture with all the scars because he wasn't wearing a face mask back in the day. I mean, that's just epic.
Put him in modern day too again without a mask. I think it'd be great. I went with Handsome Hank.
Yeah, why not?
It's just like,
why not?
And you know what? He's gonna look even more handsome playing just behind those five guys on the ice I put together.
I think I like your team.
But you either went modern or past. I cheated a little bit and I mixed and matched. I just had to picture the two most dominant skaters in Gretzky and McDavid next to each other.
Yeah. I think you're right too, and I think it would be kind of cool to see the level of respect that they would have modern day. They'd look at each other and be like, "Wow."
Both wearing their Oiler jerseys, so
yeah. I thought I became a huge Oilers fan this year.
Because of them and hoping they'd beat the Panthers.
Yeah, exactly.
As did the rest of New England and the rest of Boston.
Exactly, and this is my logic every playoffs because Bruins always happen to make it. But it's like, okay, if we're not going to go all the way, the team that beats us, I either want them
Yeah.
to lose epically or go all the way too.
But that's fair. You want to either lose to the best or you want them to get their ass kicked because they like,
Right.
broke your heart.
Yes, exactly.
I completely agree with that
It's
logic
good
all the way.
logic.
I was looking up right before when Ovi said that line. McDavid's already at 982 career points.
Yeah, that's insane. How old is he? I should know this.
He's 27.
27.
I think, 28.
That's insane.
And like Ovi and Sid are both out around floating around 1,500, give or take, plus or minus.
And just this past year, Sid and McDavid, 220 plus points combined.
Between just what they did.
Just the season. Yeah, it's lethal. They're weapons. They're weapons. I think that would be epic, though. I love that Ovechkin said that. I think it pays respect again to one of his like biggest competitors in history.
Yeah.
Like why I did the project on it. It's just like here's two of the best currently and will be in the future.
What was the age of the people you presented to for that persuasion?
I think I was a senior, and it was a class of sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
In college?
In high school.
Oh, okay.
Yep, everybody kind of knew me as being a hockey fan back then, and I just wanted to make it as entertaining as possible. So I used videos, of course, pictures, all that kind of stuff, but people were into it. That was a class that a lot of people tuned out in, but then we start talking about Sid the Kid. And
Common
then we got
ground.
Ovi. Yeah, and you know what? I loved it. And when Ovechkin won a cup a few years ago, I watched it with my dad. And
That
I
was a
like,
good juju. You presented this, and then it led to Ovi and DC and the Caps breaking through.
Yes, exactly. That was all me, you guys. No, it wasn't. But that was a cool project. It was a cool like contrast and compare kind of thing. But yeah, to see them play together, I'd love that.
Take the two goats to the game. I mean, Ovi would, and he's just like, dude, I'm just trying to get to the all-time goals record. So he's smart to say, give me two guys I'll share the line with. They give me plenty of spacing and take some attention off of me, and then I'll get to that record sooner.
Yeah.
Basically what he's saying there too.
Yeah, and three players that can all make each other better. I think that would be a powerhouse. Now I know we said this right before, but I think it'd be kind of cool to see Connor Bedard, Macklin, Celebrini play together. I don't know who a complementary third would be to that line, but I think some people were kind of like, oh, that would be cool to see, and I agree with that. Two young kids coming to the scene.
Like a young stud in the game,
Yeah.
up and coming.
I don't know. Kind of because I had trouble thinking about that.
Would it be someone from Detroit? Cider? No.
Maybe.
Right? I'm thinking of the young core they have in Detroit and what they're building up there. But again, but it's not the same as Macklin and Bedard.
Yeah.
Those two guys are on a different level.
Right. I got to see Bedard's first NHL goal at the Garden this year.
There you go.
And I freaked out a little bit because I was like, whoa, Connor Bedard just scored, and of course
Makes that immediate impact.
I'm in the Garden and everyone's booing and like, throwing things around and I'm like, but guys, Connor Bedard just scored his first goal.
You're the one that appreciated history in that snippet in time.
I did. Thank you. Yeah.
And that's what I get. It's like, even if he's scoring against your team, especially first career goal, like you're going to boo, but then you got to stop and be like, all right, witness history.
Yep.
Because same thing, imagine the people that got to witness Gretzky's first goal.
Right.
Or McDavid's first goal or Sid's first goal. Like that's what Bedard, that's what Macklin, those guys are entering that convo of.
Right.
Of like all-time legends of the game that they may follow.
Yeah, exactly. You get to witness something that has had such like, I don't know, already so many eyes on it, and then to see him come into our barn and do something like that, I'm like, hey, like you got to respect the kid. He's pretty good.
You're lucky. Next time he's in Boston next year, I'm gonna make sure to walk on over to the Garden for that game and go check it out. Have to watch him, and then when the Sharks come by, it'll be cool if it's Macklin and Will Smith on sharing the same line too.
Right. Oh yeah, you're right there. I got to interview Macklin once this year, and I thought it was pretty cool. It was one of the more physical college games that I have ever seen. It was UConn and BU at the time, and the penalty boxes were literally full on both sides, and I'd never seen this in a college game before because it's not allowed. But I mean, Macklin he took a hit, and the team was there. They protected him. They stood up for him, and it was just kind of cool to see how many kids, I guess, young men respect him enough to do that. And it was cool.
He could play 200 feet, no problem.
Yeah.
I think San Jose is going to be very happy what they have with him. Hey, Natalie, this is wrapping up the chat. First time on it. What did you think? You're going to come back?
I'm coming back. Yeah,
right.
I'm coming back, George.
As long as we'll have you, I appreciate it. I'm George Balekji. She's Natalie Noury. This was Boston Center, the chat from the PNC Bank studio. Wherever you listen, wherever you watch, please like, subscribe, rate, and review. We appreciate you guys making us a part of your day. We'll see you next time. Later.